All right, Rev Wayne Stills, this mic is all yours.
We've all spoken about before how the Course, one of its goals was to redefine old beliefs and Christian ideas in a way that was more understandable and more truthful. For instance, Son of God was not just for Jesus, it was for everybody. So to read this in section 8, perceptions and wishes, as it's written in the ear text, although it's in most of yours, I think it's the unanswered question, the last unanswered question. But otherwise, it's the same. I just think it was set up differently for whatever reasons. I don't know. Oh wait. Well, I'm in the wrong. I'm sorry. I'm in the wrong section. Good Lord. Hold on one second, guys. One moment. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. I'm in a manual for teachers. Chapter 13. How many teachers of God are needed to save the world? Now, what's fascinating about this? He was redefining the whole idea that you don't have to do anything. You know, the Course it speaks about that. You don't have to plan for your future. We need do nothing. What does that mean spiritually? It means there's nothing we have to do, nowhere we have to go, nothing we have to believe in order to be saved. To save the world, to be saved, to be in a world that's saved. All we have to do is be who we are. In the moment, whatever that is, whoever that is. Doesn't make a difference. We're always saved. But why is that? This is what it means to have Jesus die for us. It's right here. The answer to the question is how many teachers needed to be saved, or needed to save the world? The answer to the question is one. Just one. One holy, perfect teacher, whose learning is complete. Suffices. The one sanctified, redeemed, becomes the self, who is the Son of God. Now I'll stop there. The answer to the question is one. Only one person is needed to save the entire world. As long as that one person is holy and perfect. A holy and perfect teacher. Now, but at first glance, you look at me and you go, well, I'm not a perfect teacher. I'm not perfect. I'm not wholly perfect. My learning is not complete. I'm not sanctified and redeemed. Myself is not the one Son of God. Is it? And if it is, why? How? I'm as dysfunctional as they come. Well, isn't Jesus holy, perfect teacher? Isn't he the one holy, perfect teacher that we follow? Isn't his learning complete? Doesn't he suffice? Isn't he the one, this one sanctified and redeemed person who becomes the self? Isn't he the self, the Son of God? My dog agrees. Therefore, he is limitless. And being limitless, his thoughts are joined with God forever and ever. Now, sure. That's also us, but that's us because he did it first. He is the one that did it to save the world. And whether you like it or not, this is the key. We're saved. It's either going to happen now, or we're either going to admit that now to each other, or admit it later on. It's either now or later. We're either going to come in the easy way or the hard way, but we're coming in. Those police stories. We're going to come in the easy way or the hard way. And we all become teachers of God's. Thus does he share God's will and bring his thoughts to still deluded minds. Meaning to calm deluded minds. That's our job, is to calm people down, relax people, tell them, look, don't worry about it, it's a dream. Just pretend nothing bad's really happened here. We're all just bugging out. We're freaking out. We're panicking. But it's really just a panic attack. We're not panicking over anything in particular. We're just panicking. Because we're seeing things that aren't there. Who needs it? This does the Son of Man become the Son of God. Now that's the key right there. Thus does the Son of Man become the Son of God. Is that really a change? So that was when he became the Son of God. When he became the Son of God, we all became the sons of God. When Jesus became the Son of God, then that became all of a description of all of us. When Jesus went from the Son of Man to the Son of God, thus does the Son of Man become the Son of God. It says it's not really a change, it's a change of mind. Nothing on the outside, nothing external alters, but everything internal now reflects only the love of God. And so God can't be feared anymore. For the mind sees no cause for punishment. The God's teachers appear to be many, for that is that's the world's need. Yet being joined of one purpose, the one they share with God, how could they be separate from each other? And you become one of Jesus' equals as you run around teaching people, helping people, loving people, caring for people. But this was what he did. And then we're all saved no matter what we do. No matter what we say, or where we go, what we believe. And it may not happen right away, but we may be closing our eyes to what's happening right now in front of us. So eventually, it's a required course. We take the course, and we're going to have to grow from it. And it's going to help us out. There's no other way. That's what it means to be a course student and teacher. We know that on the inside, we're all sons of God. We're all children of God. Even on the outside, we're all children of men, children of our ancestors, sons of men instead of sons of God. We're not children of this realm. We're not children of linear time. We are children of vertical time. We are children of the highest realm. We are omnipotent beings. Each one of us. You have so many powers you don't even know about. And if you can keep yourself in line with the Holy Spirit and His interpretations of things, you can take those powers as deep as you want. You'll find that as you get more powerful and higher up in consciousness, those powers are nothing compared to the bliss of God. But if you use them in service of God, and service of your glory, of His glory, and service of helping and compassion and love and joy and good times and fun, then that's good. If you use it in service of stepping over people's to get ahead, of cutthroat competition, of selfishness, of hurting people, caring only about yourself, blaming others, fear, terror, you're going to have some problems. It's all going to work out, though. Right now, we're not really ready to be at Jesus' level. We're all still children of men. Children of men and women. We're also men and women of the earth. Men and women of linear time. We are still there. Consciously or unconsciously, we think we were born here and we think we're going to die here. Consciously or unconsciously, we're all still of the crucifixion mentality and not so much of the resurrection mentality. Although theoretically we think we are. But practically, we're stuck here. It's okay. I can't bend out of shape about that, can I? I do that, the devil's really got me. It says here, why is the illusion of many necessary? Only because reality is not understandable to the deluded. Most of us don't understand reality. We wish we could, but we don't. But that's okay, you know why? Because down deep, in actuality, the reality of the situation is, you are what? You are wholly perfect. You are you are one wholly perfect teacher. You are the one wholly perfect teacher. Because Jesus was first. Because Jesus was first, you too are a wholly perfect teacher whose learning is complete. You are the one sanctified, redeemed one who becomes the self, who is the Son of God. You are always Holy Spirit. You no longer see yourself as a body. You are therefore limitless, and being limitless, you are joined with God forever and ever and ever and ever. Nothing to worry about. It's all good. All right. I'll be right back. I'm sorry, it's 321. 327. Am I correct?
327, yeah.
Yeah, so let me just get to that. I thought I had that, but I didn't have it up, as it turns out. It'll take me a second to get to it. 327. I need but call on you to answer me. And I'm going to see. Because today's one of the things I wanted to talk about was the gratefulness, or gratitude, better yet, gratitude and miracles, or gratitude and love. And I wanted to see how it relates to today's lesson. I haven't read today's lesson yet, actually, because I got up about an hour ago. So I wasn't exactly. I got up and I took a shower and I had some quick bite to eat and I ran up here, had a cup of coffee, and then here I am. So I'm not asked to take salvation on the basis of unsupported faith. That's pretty cool, right? Right off the bat, the first line is kind of cool. I'm not asked to take salvation. I'm grateful for that. I have gratitude for that. And I'm not asked to take salvation on the basis of an unsupported faith. Because there are a lot of religions that take pride in the fact that that's exactly what they do. They ask you to take their salvation on the basis of unsupported faith. Am I right? You know, I mean, you figure that they would consider that to be kind of a point of courage, a point of pride for most of them, that their faith is meant to be unsupported. That's what faith is. But you know, our faith is pretty much depends upon almost our experience.
Yeah, it does, and so when you have an act of faith, you know, what does that mean? That means that, you know, you expect an experience.
Exactly.
Or you think you're sure in your heart that you're going to have an experience, and then people don't have an experience, which is what, you know, when I used to read these books, the lessons, and they would say, today you will have an experience, and then I would sit and wait. Oh, where's my experience? But that is the experience.
The waiting.
I'm actually
perceived the waiting.
experiencing it. I'm
Right.
just not aware of it.
Right.
So once I started looking at what was actually happening and becoming aware that I was having experiences of forgiveness, or experiences of faith, or experiences of thankfulness, or whatever, gratitude, you know, I was having that experience. I just wasn't actually experiencing it.
You weren't experiencing the experience.
In my mind, I was seeing it as something else.
Right. Yeah, you weren't experiencing the experience as the experience.
Yeah.
You were experiencing it as something else. Almost. You're always. It's kind of like a double a strange whammy almost, because you're experiencing the experience as something else, but that something else is part of the experience. And so you have to kind of welcome the whole thing as an experience.
Yeah, because I'm always having an experience.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. No matter what happens, we're down to the last nitty gritty nanosecond. The last nanosecond is the experience, and you have to let go of trying to find it. Just let go of it, and then and then everything is fine. Then you don't have to. Then you know then you don't have to have anything. In other words, try not to support anything. It's supported already. That's almost what it seems to be saying here. I'm not asked to take salvation on the basis of unsupported faith. It's supported. We don't have to try to support it ourselves. Let God support it. For God has promised He will hear my call and answer me Himself. So let me but learn from my experience that it is true, and faith in Him must surely come to me. This is the faith that will endure and take me further and still further on the road that leads to Him. For this I will be sure that He has not abandoned me and loves me still, awaiting but the call to give me all the help I need to come to Him. So it sounds to me like what He's saying is like, don't worry about a thing, don't try to expect anything, don't try to make your faith work. Just let go and know that I support you 100%. Your faith is supported by whatever you need support with. You can let go of trying to make it work, trying to make expectations come. You can just expect it to work. You can say, I expect this. That's what our faith can be, total expectation without trying to make anything happen. And knowing, because the minute I try to make, all right, this is the experience I want, this is the experience I'm having, I'm pushing away something else. And so I'm taking over the reins. I'm not asked to take salvation on the basis of unsupported faith. They're supported. They're supported by. And remember, one of the things I've realized is that when I say I let Christ take over, it's the higher part of myself. It's still me. And it's one of the hardest things that I've had to realize, that it's still me taking over my life and putting me in a position that I wasn't comfortable in being originally when it moved me from this place to that place, when it moved me from this continent to that continent, when it moved me from that career to this career. It was not something that some outside force did to me against my will. It was what I did to myself in accordance with my will. And it was always a hard thing to do when you don't see that happening consciously, you know.
It's real funny. Yesterday when I was at the dentist's office, and like you said, and I said, "Well, man, I do not like to go to the dentist. I'm not happy about having to, go and sit in that chair and have those bright lights shining in my eye." And they gave me sunglasses, which was cool.
Yeah,
but I'm not
they do that
happy
now.
about having to open your mouth, close your mouth, do this, do that. They're sticking wedges in there, and they're drilling away and doing all these things. I'm not happy about
and you
that.
can't even spit anymore. They don't let you do that now.
No, they put a thing in your
Yeah,
mouth.
they go swallow.
Yeah, so but that's kind of cool too. But it's real different.
Yeah,
but,
there is.
But anyway, they're doing all this stuff, and I just trying to still my mind and just go into like a little kind of a meditation. And I realized that, from the beginning of time, I was sitting in that dentist chair. I've always been there. Because I'm always everywhere.
Right. In time and space.
To reject it would be to reject the experience that I was being given.
Right.
And so being able to sit there and, experience the experience without suffering about it, without being upset. I got calmer and calmer and calmer and calmer. And, by the time, that they were, halfway through, I'm like, okay, this is not too bad. But, oh man, it was taking a very long time.
Yeah.
And, I just, your mind just starts going. And,
well, it's the worst.
I'm just here where I've always been.
Well, so those,
and I've never been anywhere else. And,
yeah.
This is exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. And with these people, and the dentist and the assistant were just both so lovely and so sweet. And, you really got a good feeling. That's how it turned out. I ended up feeling really joyful about having all this going on. I have to admit, I was resentful. I didn't like that my body was, something like that was going bad on me. But then, I had to think about, these teeth are like, without them, I'd be really limited in so many things, in so many ways.
Teeth were pretty important.
And, having an opportunity to take care of them instead of having them all fall out and have to get false teeth, it was really a blessing. So, I wasn't being agitated. I was being blessed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I also thought about the dentist and the hygienist and how, because so many people are in such a nervous and upset state when they're in there, how they have to be calm and centered in order not to get agitated themselves. Because, I understand this may or may not still be true, but for some time, the highest rate of suicide in the country or in the world, whatever, was among dentists.
Really?
Because apparently they, having to deal with people in so much pain and to be so limited in what they can do about solving a person's pain, it was frustrating to them and upsetting to them. And so, I thought about that, and I was, really, sending love to everyone there so that they wouldn't be frustrated and so they would be joyful. Because that's really what I'm here for, is to make a joyful world, not, add to the upset and nervousness of
Yeah,
things.
it's also a great feeling if you walk out of a place and they go, "Wow, you were great. You were fantastic. You made them happy. They would like to have a happy experience too. The people working on you, you know." But
just blessing them.
yeah, exactly. They would love that. You know, it's funny. I also find when we talk like this, it's that we get I mean, when we, about the time when we're in those situations where we can't do much about it. It's good to be able to fall back or to have that type of availability to those type of experiences to counter those, so you don't go crazy. I remember when I had my brain surgery, and they put you in this vice before they bring you in. I don't remember exactly why, but I remember they did. I just remember this. They put me in this vice for some reason, and they had to squeeze my head into it, and I got to a point where it was so much pain. I remember there's nothing I could really do about it. The pain. They just said you have to suck it up. You know, we'll take it off in a minute, but we'll put this on, and I don't remember why, but I remember all I could do was just give into it completely. I surrendered to it. I just said, I'm going to allow for this completely to be there because I can't fight it. And the more I fight it, the more I'm putting an extra energy into it that's just causing more pain. So I'm just going to sit here and allow it to be there. This was many years. It was my first year out here. First 2 years out here. Moving out here to Chicago. I'm just going to allow for it to be there and become a painful moment. I'm going to become pain for you. Just for this moment, I'm going to become the pain. And that's what I did. I just sat there, my eyes kind of just got a little less open, a little more, a tear came out of the eye, but I wasn't really crying. I was just kind of, it just became the moment. I became that moment. And then it felt better. I remember, I look back on that moment now, it was more of an emotional experience than something of a fighting moment. I don't know if that makes any sense. And it was because I had to do that. The whole experience I had to do. The whole surgery, people said to me, "It was rather brave of you." It wasn't brave. I had no choice. And when you move into an experience where you have no choice, and you have you have the abilities that you've worked on when you had choices, it's a good thing. Because when I've been studying the course in times like this. When we're talking it out and we're learning and we're growing, and then I'm thrown into a situation like that, that was there. And I'm not sure it would have been there if it wasn't for the course.
Exactly. And I mean, this probably is not as apt of a comparison, but when sometimes, like, you hear about people who have been tortured, and who have, been because of some political thing or something like that, and you think, how did they persevere throughout all of that? And I remember hearing Thich Nhat Hanh, who is a great Buddhist teacher. I'm sure you know of him from Vietnam, and he was talking about one of the monks who had been imprisoned by the Viet Cong and was tortured. When he was finally released, they asked him, were you ever in fear? Were you in fear? And he said, one time I was in fear. And they said, what was it that caused you, great fear at that time? He said, I was afraid I was going to lose my peace of mind.
Yeah, that would be the worst.
And I mean, that's mind control to be in such a place that the only thing that you're afraid of is that you're going to lose that peace.
But if you think about it, that makes the most sense. Because if you lose your peace of mind, and what you're left with is no peace.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes sense that you would be concerned about that. Because as long as you have your peace of mind, and then you have your peace of mind, and nothing's really bad around you. I mean, surely you'd like your surroundings not to be such a concern that you have to be concerned about that. But so long as you keep your peace of mind, then nothing around you really matters. It's like, I used to study from this guy called Hal. You know who Hal Dwoskin is?
Yes.
I used to study a lot of his stuff. I still do. I mean, overall, he's one of the other paths that I've studied with along with the Course in Miracles. And one of the things he always said was that you have to shit, I lost my train of thought. What did I bring him up for? I lost my train of thought. Darn it. Oh, boy.
Talking about keeping peace of mind.
Yeah, peace of mind. He used to always say that hate that. It's like something with scissors that cuts my train of thought. I hate that. Oh yes. He's always saying, I can't promise you that I'll ever get you healed of physical problems, but I can promise you I can get you to a place where you won't care that you have these problems. I can get you to a point where you'll be joyful and happy and peaceful. And respond with complete bliss that you have any problems at all, whether it be from cancer to a cold, will be the same thing. So that was kind of cool. That's sort of how I kind of the most I can ask of myself right now is to respond with complete joy, and healing can follow very easily.
Exactly. Healing will follow.
Yeah. Well, some kind of healing will follow. But it won't matter to me what kind of healing follows, because I won't care anymore. That's the funny part. You get to a place where you don't care, and that's when healing follows.
Because you're not you're not afraid of it.
Exactly. It's like you get to what he calls the hootless place, where you don't give a hoot.
The hootless place. I love it.
And you don't give a hoot anymore, and that's when you suddenly things start happening for you. But the minute you start caring too much, or caring really at all, that's when things happen a little bit less. I don't mean caring a bit like you don't care about people. I mean when you really just kind of can go either way on it. So when I used to go for auditions for acting, whenever I went for an audition and I cared less, the less I cared, that 50-50, I can get it or not get it, the better audition I had. Every time.
Yeah, exactly, because it's the investment in it that makes you afraid, or makes you feel like something could be lost here.
Yeah.
So if you're invested in it, then you're in the hoot place.
Exactly. You're in the hoot place. You're giving a hoot. And you don't want you want no hoots whatsoever. You want to be hootless. But this says the first line. I'm not asked to. We're in a supported place. We're always being supported, and so there's no reason to give a hoot, because God gives a hoot for us. That's what it means that salvation isn't a bit. We're not asked to take our peace of mind, which is what he was talking about, on a basis of unsupported faith. Our peace of mind is supported by God. What that first line basically says. For God has promised, He has promised to hear our call and answer me Himself. He will answer us completely. So God says, God, I need some peace. But before I got on here, I said, God, I'm not feeling 100%. Please hook me up. Take over. Give me this next hour.
Or how about that? I put the lesson in the room. Can you see it?
Where I didn't see anything. Well, hold on. Let me get to Zoom. I'm not on Zoom right now.
On Zoom?
Oh yeah, I see it there. Yeah, I see it there. I need, but go on. You will answer me. I am not asked to take salvation on the basis of hope. Yeah, for God has promised He will hear my call and answer me Himself. Our call is always going to be for what I did before I came on today. I asked God to, give me some peace of mind over the next hour. Allow me to express myself from peace on the basis of your support, God, and only your support. Because the reason why I'm praying to you right now is because I don't have enough support of my own. And then again, one of the good things to remind myself is I'm not praying to some outside force that I'm alien to. I'm praying to a part of myself that's higher, an infinite source within myself. That's my dog in the background agreeing. And for God has promised He will hear my call and answer me Himself. Let me but learn from my experience that this is true, and faith in Him must surely come to me. That's a nice way of saying, learn. This is true. Learn it and move on. Move with it, because this is true. And the more you experience this truth, the more the expectation can be forthcoming. The faith will endure. And this type of faith is not a blind faith. Because he's saying, learn from your experience. And I've learned from this experience, because every time I come on here, I'm half a man before I get on the air. I remember when I used to go down, I went back down to Second City. I was working down there for the past couple of years before I came back here. And I remember during the afternoon, I was stumbling around the house in pain. I could barely walk because of the Parkinson's, and I'm a wreck. And I used to say to my daughter, who I used to go down with, I used to say, well, I'm not going to be able to go tonight. How am I going to go tonight? I can't walk now. Look at me. And I should go to workshops tonight and work and improv and act. And then I would say to myself, but every time I'm like this every week. And every time I go down there, I'm better by the time I get down there. Every single time. And I have no idea how and why. But I'm a wreck in the afternoon, and by the time I get down there at 7 o'clock, I seem to be fine. I'm going to let the Spirit take over. I'm going to let the gods of theater take over. And so I get down there, and every single time I get down there, I was okay. And so you learn from your experience to trust that. And that's what he's saying here. And every time I come on here, I'm fine. I have something to say. I open my mouth, I let the Spirit come out. And every time I open my mouth, something comes out. I don't know if it's to the happiness of everyone else around me, but I always have something to say. Let me but learn from my experience that this is true, and faith in Him must surely come to me. This is the faith that will endure and take me farther and still farther down the road that leads to Him. For thus I will be sure that He has not abandoned me and loves me still, awaiting my call to give me all the help I need to come. Isn't that awesome? Basically, God's sitting there saying, look, you come to me anytime you want, and I will give you what you need. I will hook you up completely to the point where you will just be able to know for sure that this is going to happen every time you ask. Isn't that awesome? That's the way I sum it up. I mean, have you ever had the experiences in your life that before you had the experience you weren't sure, and then afterwards you knew?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And what you were talking about, there's a lot of times that I have a lot of physical health problems and issues. And I'm not even going to say because of what, because I just do. And and there's a lot of times I'm like, my husband is like, why don't you just stay in bed? Why do you get up and have to go in there and mess around with those people and mess around with that pal talk? And, I'm like, well, it's my obligation. I already said I would do it. I'm going to be there. And I could come in here and just feel just terrible and fevery and achy and everything. And by the time I've been here for a half an hour, I'm like feeling like a normal person again. I still have the sickness, but I don't notice it because I'm not focusing on that. I'm focusing on the connection that I'm in with the people that are here.
Oh, absolutely. That's the key. That's one of the reasons why when I went down to the down to the second city, I was okay because I was improving and I was acting, and so my focus was always off me and on the other person I was with on stage and the people around me. I was always off myself, and so it was almost as if since I wasn't paying attention to my body, the body wasn't really reacting the same way. I was always focused on other bodies and how I can respond off them as opposed to responding off my body. And since there's no real difference between my body and other bodies, according to the Spirit, I was focusing on the health of other bodies, which were fine relative to my experience of my own. That make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Yeah, so the people around me were like, they're relatively healthy compared to what I consider to be health and my health. And so I was focusing on them and they're responding off them, and so I was their health for while I'm down there. Because down there I'm sort of managing my own perceptions. I'm seeing how other people see me because I'm on my best behavior, so to speak, because I'm in an acting environment. I'm in a theater. I'm in my professional environment, so to speak, and I have to make sure. So especially me, who has a situation with his physical life, I'm always looking at myself. I mean, in other words, not in the mirror, but as I'm walking around, I'm seeing how other people see me, and so I'm always seeing things through other people's eyes. And if in those situations, and in a sense, I'm being almost physically empathetic, and I'm always. It does me always be like that, but I'm not. Very often, I'm inward, and I'm not thinking about what other people are seeing, and so I have to almost be outward to function better. The more I'm in my own thoughts and not thinking about anything around me, is the more I start to stumble. I'm not servicing anyone around me. I'm not expressing myself. I'm not expressing my inner thoughts. I'm sort of running and hiding. And the more I run and hide, the more I'm frightened of the things around me. And so because I'm not able to to get off my body. The more I'm in my body, basically, it seems. It seems for some reason, the more I'm in my body, and the more I'm in myself, and the more I'm in my own thoughts, my own fantasy world, my own dream world, the more my body just starts to cave in on itself. The more I start to, I'm walking with my wife or something, and as I'm walking down the street, she says to me, Wayne, stop thinking and walk. I start to slow down. She says to me, it's like I can't chew gum and walk at the same time, so to speak. And as I start to think too much, I start to slow down. I really can't think too much and walk at the same time because I started to slow down. And my wife was like, "Where's Wayne?" Oh shit, he's thinking. yeah, it's crazy that I have to focus on externally to keep walking fast.
Yes.
And usually when you're walking a long way, you don't want to have to focus outward on the whole time. You want to think about stuff when you're walking. But I'm learning now that it's like I can just live in the moment this way. And just trust God to take care of me moment to moment without me having to run to fantasy. Without having me run to thoughts and run to ideas and run to things in my mind. And then I can do the same thing here. I can walk around. This way I'm almost being forced to live in the moment. To live in this now and to live here without forcing myself out of the moment because the moment seems to be boring me. Well, there's not enough here now. And then if I decide I want to move off to what seems to be the moment, or what seems to be because really this is not the moment either. This is just a second behind, a nanosecond behind everything we're looking at. But if we go off this nanosecond into something even more present, if we could possibly do that, that would be one thing. But when we run away from this moment, what we could perceive to be the present moment, into a past memory, into something in the past, because we're afraid of the present, or we're afraid of being here, or we're bored with the present, or ashamed of the present, or we're terrified of the present, or we hate the present, that's when we get into trouble. And that's what happens when I'm walking someplace and I get bored with what's around me. It's as if to say I'm bored with my surroundings. I'm better than my surroundings. My surroundings are a joke. Who needs it? I'm gonna go somewhere else. It's just as I was saying, like kids when they were younger, and they said they were bored, and I said, "Why? You're too good for your surroundings? There's nothing to do here." And no, there's a lot to do here. So what are you bored with? Look around. Look how wonderful things are around you. Because little kids are like that. They fantasize, but usually they fantasize with what's around them. They see things around them and they turn things into something else. When they'll see a chair and
they're able to imagine.
Yeah, they imagine with their external surroundings when they turn things into other things. They don't necessarily go into the corner of their room and go into their head. And if they did, you would want to get them more externalized. It's okay that they use their imagination, but they're usually in the moment. Hopefully, if they're all things being equal, they're in the moment and they're living from moment to moment in the present. And the more their imagination is working, bouncing off the present moment. So they might be. It's like if you're acting, you always want to be in the moment, responding off your partner, off the situation. Imagine with your imagination. But if your partner is somewhere else, dealing with something else that has nothing to do with the moment, you're not going to really be dealing with anybody except some sort of figure. And that's not going to be helpful. And same thing in life. If you're talking to somebody that's not even there with you, you'll eventually sense that.
Oh yeah, and it's something for me to watch myself, to be here now, to be where I am, and not be somewhere else or thinking about where I'm going to be next or where I was yesterday or any of those things. Just to be here now is really the key. Baba Ram Dass, he knew it. It was
yeah. Isn't that his name of his thing? Be Here Now. That's the name of his.
Be Here Now.
Yeah. I was like, I knew that. That's either a name of his site or it's the name of a restaurant. I can't remember which one it was, because there was another restaurant in New York City that was called Eat Here Now.
Oh, I love it.
It was a very famous restaurant. It was there for many years. I don't think it's there anymore, but it was there when I was a kid. It was there for Eat Here Now, and it was a pretty famous restaurant. So that's what for some reason I thought of that. But yeah. So it's and that's why today's lesson I thought is pretty cool. Basically, what it seems to be getting at is that Father, I thank you for your promises that will never fail in my experience. if I would test them out. Let me attempt, therefore to try them and not judge, and to judge them not. Your word is one with you. You gave me the means whereby the conviction comes, and surely of your abiding love is gained at last. So this gives you conviction when you know that nothing around you is anything but an opportunity to experience God and to experience Him coming to your rescue. No matter what the issues are. I mean, that's one of the things that's cool. No matter what my issues were over this past hour, I don't feel any pain right now at all. I seem to be just flowing from a certain source, and everything seems to be coming out. And I never do I come to any of these things with anything but a topic prepared. But never do I don't really have an outline. I have an outline. I have the lesson of the day. That's enough for me. And I open that up and I take a look at it. And I have an outline like I had today. I have a topic that I had today, and I just allow it to come out. And every time I do that, perhaps there's a better way. I'm not sure, but every time I do that, it seems to be that something is there, and it's not necessarily something I prepared for. So, as far as I'm concerned, it comes from a source that is higher than the average source that I come up with. Because if I should talk like this around somebody else, they would have interrupted me at least 10 times already. You know, on a normal conversation with somebody, I don't have an hour to talk. I would, if I was talking with my friend, like one of my daughters. Are you kidding me? They would have interrupted me now at least 10 times in the middle of a sentence. And perhaps disagree with me, perhaps now I'm not sure, blah, 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 and I would have ended up perhaps in a heated debate, and who knows what would have happened. And I would have had to make sure that somehow I kept that flow feeling. And I kept in touch with the truth of where I was. And I can do that much easier now than I ever had before. I know how to just sometimes welcome whatever feelings are coming up, I allow them to be there. And so I can stay above the fray, so to speak, and continue conversations with people. But sometimes it's hard, especially when it's your daughters, because your family knows how to push those buttons.
It's hard when you care about what that person thinks.
Exactly.
If you don't care what the person thinks, it's pretty easy. But if you care what that person thinks, then you want to be able to. You want to know that you're really communicating with them, and that they're really understanding, and that you're really understanding what they're thinking about too.
Right.
So that is a matter of, how much I care about this. And sometimes you think you care, when like strangers post things on social media that, you're like, oh no, that's not right. And we can't have that. You might get invested in it and start having conversation with them that is argumentative and all that, because you think you do care. But I've learned to look at it, if the world is not real and politics is not real, and all these things that you think are happening are manifestations of our thinking, then why argue about it?
Absolutely.
Just as we're saying, just let all things be exactly as they are, and stop criticizing God and the universe, because it's all perfect just the way it is.
Absolutely. No, you can find yourself caring too much about anything. I mean, those shows where they used to have people come on and argue with each other about stuff. Those people who come on the show and argue about moms and dads, and they get them caring about stuff that you wouldn't normally see yourself caring about. The way he says, he said this to me, she said that to me, or anything. They have these on TV, especially. They get you all crazy about things, and you can be upset about anything, any little thing, about music industry. Any little thing can bother you if you let it bother you in this dream. That's the whole point of the dream. They get you to a place where you give up on the idea that there could be any possible higher power to take care of you or to rescue you.
Yes.
And what better way to do that than to piss you off and to make you upset? I mean, what other way is there to do that besides to get you to the point where to put you through what Job went through and different variations of what Job went through, and to see if you can get, unlike Job, who complained a lot, but in the end he said, all right, you're right, I'm wrong. And it was basically, and the end result was, if God says I'm right, his direct quote was, if God says I'm right, how can I be, if God says I'm wrong, how can I be right?
Yep.
That's what he said in the end. So if we can get to that place where if God says He'll be there for us, how can He not be there for us? Then we'll be all right.
Yeah, and isn't that story of Job a perfect one of nothing real can be threatened?
Oh yeah,
Because all the everything that was unreal in Job's life was taken away, and the only thing that was left was his relationship with God,
right.
and that was the only thing that was real about.
We're better than, we're more real than all the pain, the suffering, more real than his friends and all their advice. You know, and the funny thing about the friends and their advice is it seemed very real. If you look at what they were saying, it seemed like it made a lot of sense. It must be you. God's perfect. You did something wrong. But all that was baloney. Everything was baloney except for the end result was just God. That was the only thing that was real in the end.
Yeah,
You know, and then
that was it.
so in the end, Job.
Well, it looks like our time is up.
Yes, our time is up. It's 12:30. Thank you so much for once again being wonderful to talk to, and thanks everyone for listening in. God bless you all, and I love you all very much, and I love you, Lynn. And I will be back tomorrow at 2:00 Eastern Standard Time.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Rev Wayne Stills, and happy.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I'll come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping. And the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, 'neath the halo of a street lamp. I turned my collar to the cold and damp. When my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light, asleep at night, and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs.
Thank you so much, Brev
Hello.
Buenos Dias.